Guys, and thanks for joining us again. Today we're going to talk about a really interesting subject. We know that cards have really been doing well the last actually 16 to 18 months, and I think that April is going to be the biggest card month ever. And I've got some reasons of why I think that is. And so we're going to go through, we're going to talk about a few things. Some are not very significant. Some I think are pretty significant to the reason why April will be so good. And I also discuss who April will actually be good for. And then at the end, stay tuned for the end because then we're going to have the bad news, I guess. So,
Bad news. Are you talking about your anniversary?
yeah, no.
And it's also my birthday. So
Yeah, April is a good month. But for cards, is it still going to be the best month ever as
Yep.
I'm predicting? So first, I'll address this.
Yep.
I think it's going to be the best month ever for card guys who either own shops or are breakers. Because as you'll see on my list, a big portion of why I think it's going to be the best month ever is because of the products that will be released in the month of April. So we can get kind of started on this list. And then again, at the end, we will talk about what happens after April. So, um, here are a few of the reasons that I think, Bill, and you can jump in and comment as much as you want.
So I'll start off with
Sure.
one question. So I know you said that you think it's going to be huge for
Yes.
people that own shops
Yep.
and breakers.
Mhm.
Well, but how do you think it's going to be for these people that own potential shops? You know, that they're into Q, but they're not going to get authentic. They're not going to or Fanatics is not going to allow anybody into any new program until after the national. So how is it going to affect them if they're basically just like having to buy off somebody else?
Yeah.
Or rely on retail to get, rely on their, hey, I'm buying at Walmart I'm buying at $34.95 to put it out at $50, how is it going to affect them?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So I do think that in general, no matter what, if you are a guy who does singles on Whatnot, if you are a guy a little too far down on the totem pole and you're rebuying off other dealers to have a shop, I guess by saying it's going to be the best month ever, and my thumbnail's already created and
for Rob,
and shows it with like a little profit increase. I'm saying there's going to be more money put out into this hobby than probably ever. And the reason that I'm saying that again is multiple. So I think that everybody will benefit from extra money, but I do think for breakers and shop owners, it could possibly be the most profitable month that we've known. So here are a few of the reasons. And again, I'm doing it to go through a few of them pretty quickly and then focus on the ones that I think really matter. One, I think people are still living off their tax returns. That's kind of a cycle every year. I think the last couple of weeks have been particularly good for us. And I think most people are getting their tax returns back February, early March.
Yep.
But I think that they're probably still living off those tax returns. Another reason that I think is very simple, but again, not a huge influence on what I'm saying. It's not earth shattering or rocket science here, but the weather is still not really opened up yet. It's still questionable. One day it's, especially in the east,
87.
Yes, and then the next day
it's 37.
Yes, and that's literally happened for us here in Ohio just last week. And so, yeah, it's the weather's all over the place. And, the weather might be more consistent in other areas, but it's actually this area, Ohio, Illinois, and
it is a hotbed for cards.
It's a hotbed for shops. It's a hotbed for cards.
Absolutely.
For sure. Shows have been crazy.
And if Fanatics had their choice on it, they wouldn't have so many shops in the same area. They would prefer them being more spread out because there are areas that don't have a shop within 100 miles.
Oh, for sure. For sure, yeah.
But not here.
They're
all over the place.
Yeah, there are states that have 3 shops total.
Absolutely.
In their state. So anyway, people are still living off their tax returns. That's one reason. 2, the weather's still questionable. Hasn't broke yet. People are not planning vacations yet. So they're still here, still stuck in, and occasionally by weather, by default, they're stuck inside. So here is one of the reasons that I think that's a little bit more significant. So we'll go with number 3. Number 3, it is the perfect sports storm. Now, what do I mean by that? Here is a list of all the things that are going to affect your April in sports. Baseball starts, March Madness just ends, the NFL football draft is at the end of April, the NBA winds up and has only a few weeks left as we end April. WNBA is under a new agreement,
Mm-hmm.
and WNBA starts the preseason. So, about the WNBA, do you have any thoughts about that, or what took place recently with them?
So the WNBA finally signed a national contract with them with the for TV and stuff like that, and they literally, it was like $1 billion deal over so many years and stuff like that. So this allows them to actually pay their players. Now, from the knowledge, from what I learned is, like last year, uh, Caitlin Clark. Now, granted, she's got sub deals. She's got contracts with other places, not just living off her money from the WNBA. She made $56,000. This coming year, it looks like she's going to make $556,000 because the teams are basically going to have a salary cap of $7 million for at least this year and possibly the next couple years. That is very fair for the time they're playing. They're not playing an 82 game schedule. It is not. I'm not saying it's not strenuous, but it's not as big of a season.
Mm-hmm.
I do look to see with the new notoriety and all that, you will probably see more people come out of the woodwork that play for teams that you didn't really see before because they weren't televised. Unless they played the Indiana Fever, they weren't really televised. So you're going to see more stars come out and their cards go up in value.
Mm-hmm.
If you play for the Fever, Caitlin Clark, Steffi Cunningham, Chelsea Mitchell from Ohio State, their cards are already worth money. But
Mm-hmm.
there's other teams that people are like, I was in a break and I got the Comets and I don't really like it or whatever. But if you hold on to those cards, there will be somebody that breaks out, and there is value in those rookies.
Mm-hmm.
So I do recommend holding your rookies, and always do. That's part of collecting.
Yeah, and no, you're exactly right. And I think the disagreements they were having, the negotiations they were having, was starting to kind of leave a bad taste in the mouth of like WNBA card collectors,
Mm-hmm.
because it kind of came off like they were being whiny. But that's now water under the
Well,
bridge and kind of fixed.
Well, I
So,
mean, for somebody in the NBA to get $25 million a year,
mm-hmm.
and for somebody in WNBA to get a couple $100,000 a year, but they only played 20 some games. I'm not sure. I don't actually know how many games they play, but
Yeah.
it can't be more than 40 games. I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, if you're playing a reduced schedule
Mm-hmm.
and all this, and with all the other chances you have for signing endorsements and stuff like that. There were a couple people in the NBA, Angel Reese and somebody else, and they were claiming, we should be making $1 million a year. No, if the NBA, if you wanted to make what the NBA or WNBA made last year, they lost $50 million.
Mm-hmm.
You should give them $1 million because you guys lost them money. But this new contract's going to allow them to not lose money and hopefully pick up the league, and it should be helpful for everything, and especially for the card market. Maybe not even just the new cards, but like the older prisms and selects that have been out for the last couple of years that were
Mm-hmm.
borderline will pick up value.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I totally agree. So we're going to get to what I think is more significant, the last two, which are more significant. So the first one, people are living off tax returns. That's why April's going to be great. Two, weather's still questionable, especially anywhere in the northeast part of the United States. Three, it was a perfect storm. All these different sports are finishing up, wrapping up. Football,
But that happens
draft.
every year.
It does. It does. And that's why, and so do these other things.
Mm-hmm.
But this, what I'm about to talk about, doesn't happen every year. Football cards are scarce. Now, I want to first illustrate that side. Football cards are scarce. And I know personally from the distributor that I receive my Panini football retail cards from that there are no more Panini retail football, period. There is none. You're not going to go to Walmart and see a nice restock of Optic football. It's over. You're not going to go find Select. There are no Select fat packs. There are no Prism fat packs. it's over. My entire back order has been cleaned off, and of the 50 products that are on my back order, not one is a Panini football. So that scarcity is going to drive those products up. Breakers still want to break a case of Optic football. Matter of fact, I personally am about to raise my cases that I have, or I'm going to hold them because there's going to be a scarcity in those products released. Now, there was a couple hobby products that they were able to sneak in and release, but we're going to go a couple months, and then there's going to be licensed tops. But do you have anything to say?
So Rob recently was able to purchase a large amount of stuff from the wholesaler, and like one was the Optic Buster Blasters and Megas. So he did sell them at a little bit over cost, because he bought so much and all that. So those people that he sold to are now coming back and like, hey, you know what? I made good money on it. I'll take some more. It's like, you're not getting at that price. Unfortunately, you should have bought more when you first seen them. And, and they're like, oh, and Rob raised it like $60 and like, oh, I can't do it. Okay. Well, then you didn't make that much money. So that's not our fault, but Rob is sitting very well with it. It is going to hamper me and Bobby's living style because we do sell fat packs and stuff like that in here, and we don't make a lot of money off of them, but we do try to keep them. I think that it will affect and this is something we've never ever talked about, but like Dick's Sporting Goods started carrying all this product and Panini was sending them all this product. What's Dick's Sporting Goods going to do when they don't have any Panini product? I mean, there's tons in the warehouse. I mean, they have tons in the warehouse because they haven't sold it. But what are they going to do when they're like, hey, we have this contract, but where's our product? And they're like, okay, well, here's this basketball product that's not licensed and nobody really cares about. But the only thing is we got Con Knipple and autographs and VJ Edstrom. That's it. So you're going to have those box stores loaded with that type of stuff that's not licensed, and they're going to get an education that sports card dealers or collectors really do not like that. And they're going to stay with Fanatics, and that's going to force them to have to make bigger deals with Fanatics to keep if they want to stay in the sports card industry.
Yeah. So football cards are scarce for a month or so. Then guess what? Licensed tops. Now, Chrome. Now, how do we know that Chrome NFL 2025, in case you haven't heard, is going to be released in April? How do we know that?
We know that because there was a player who was part of the 2025 class that literally posted a picture on his Instagram or whatever, showed him signing the cards. And it's like, it's not like they, wait, blah, blah, blah. And I don't think that was probably something that was never mentioned to him. It didn't say, hey, you can't show these cards. But I'm sure between the people that are with Fanatics and Tops and stuff like that were kind of like hush hush because they want to kind of surprise the industry and say, hey, we're going to go and get this product out. Bad thing is 2025 really, other than Jackson Dart and Scattaboo, those other rookies, I mean, Sherrod Sanders had a decent year at the end, but nobody's out there fighting to buy their cards. So they're getting the rookie class out, and they're saying it's going to be hot. They still don't have a decent case hit that someone's going to be like, oh, that compares to a downtown or whatever. So I don't see it selling as well as they think it is, except for people be like, it's football and it's Tops, I got to open it. So you're basically,
and there's nothing else available.
Yes.
Yeah, but I would
lack of anything out there.
Yeah, I would add to that though. I don't really think there's a notable case hit in Prism, and Prism's $900.
So there is not but they also have all these different variations that people have been following for the last 14, 15 years.
Yep.
So not the zebras, but like the silvers, the waves, the cracked ice. If you've been buying those for years, you're still going to try to buy it, put together your set and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, well, Prism at $900 is ridiculous.
I would agree.
Nobody should be buying that
A
product.
hobby box.
Nobody should be buying a hobby box for $900.
I
The
would
autographs
totally
aren't
agree.
that great. I guess they did have Mahomes under contract, but then they put out a product that was like all Mahomes autographs for more money than God, and it doesn't make sense. Panini was on their way out the door. They've showed you by putting their excess cards into like national treasures and stuff like that, being like, oh, you get an extra hit. It's like, no, we got the crap that you can't get rid of, and you know that you're not going to be able to put out licensed cards again. And I don't ever see Fanatics giving up the license or even chancing giving up the license in the next 10 years. Now, if they reevaluate it after 5 years, I guess Panini could come in and try to, but I don't. I think that at best, at some point, if it continues into the courts and it's still a pending lawsuit and stuff like that, if it does, the only thing they can do is say, hey, you can make 15 products and you can make 15 products. Well, now you're going to have both companies mad at each other, and nobody's going to be happy with that because they're not going to worry about putting out tops. It's not going to be like a regular tops product or regular honors. If they put out 15 products, it's going to be pristine. We got a guy that loves pristine around here somewhere. It's going to be pristine. It's going to be immaculate. It's going to be national treasures. And screw the little guy, because we're going to make our major money on all those huge products. And and because when it boils down at the end of the day, it's not about collecting anymore. It's about those companies making money to take care of their investors. And it never was for years and years and years. Topps was a company. We knew they were making money, but we didn't know who owned it. We didn't care. It wasn't cared about the investors because they weren't like, hey, they spent $4 billion investing in us. That was never a thing that anybody ever thought about that collected. It's only changed that when Fanatics took in $4 billion and they're like, hey, we got money. We're buying everything up.
Yeah. So what would be your opinion? Like, because I have an opinion. Like the 2025 products, football that they're going to release. We already know Chrome. We already know that's going to hit by the end of April. Again, why April is going to be so great. Okay. How many products do you think they release under 2025?
I don't know. I don't think they should do much, honestly. I think my opinion is, honestly, if they were going to do it really smart, in my opinion, they put out, because the rookie class is so horrible, in my opinion, of course, there's a couple, like I said, Jackson Dart, there's a couple of people, but nobody that's like hammering like to get to these guys. I think you put out a very, very short run of them. Make it really hard to get. Like ask Rob, like, hey, what do you want? Rob's like, hey, I want as many cases you want. I'm like, okay, well, you can get 2 cases of hobby and 1 case of jumbos, and you're going to get like 1 case of blasters. That's it. Don't send it to retail. Don't send it to the Walmarts and Targets and Myers. Don't send it to them. That product will go up through the roof, and that's the only way that product is going to be a sought after product if there isn't enough out there. If there's plenty out there, you're not going to have people at the stores trying to buy it at $34.95 to sell it for $50. They're not going to do it. So, and then the bad thing to figure out is this is 2026. I could have swore when I signed my last check, it was like, and I'm like, it wasn't April 1st. It wasn't April Fool's Day yet, but it is 2026. So why am I seeing 2025 product? I don't care. It's past the year. I want the current rookies.
Yeah.
So they get the Chrome out. Don't put out another product for that. Just be like, hey, this is our rookies for this. Boom. They go right into 2026 with the new draft picks and all that, and they can put out a Topps product that kids can afford, parents can afford. People like it. It makes us happy, makes us want to open, and then by the time you get that Topps Chrome 2026 out football, you're going to slam it to us. We know it. So you better be happy with the Topps. If you're on the low end of the collecting or you're buying into a break or whatever, you better buy what you can buy Topps, because by the time the Chrome comes out, you are going to get hammered.
Okay. So just 3 different things from what you said. Before we move on to the biggest reason that April is going to be one of the best months for shops and breakers ever is 2025 Chrome. I agree. They should limit it. I think 2 to 3 products under the 2025 year is fine.
That would be more than enough.
That would be more than enough. But the 2025 Chrome is not going to be that rare. Maybe the hobby, but I guarantee they do plenty of blasters. They do whatever, and I think it sells very well. I don't think there's a question that it sells really well and dries up pretty quickly. But also, one other thing is the speed at which we'd want to move through the 2025 class and move on to the 2026 class should be partly at least determined by how good we think the 2026 class is, and we don't think it's that great.
There's only one word. It's Fernando.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. That's all you need to know.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you need to know. He's going to be a Raider.
Mm-hmm. There's going to be a lot of Ohio State guys go first round.
There's going to be a bunch of Ohio State guys first round, which in this area will help us out.
100%.
But there's a separation. Just to let you guys know, there's a big separation between people that collect Ohio State players and collect a certain guy.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of Ohio State players when they get in the pro uniform, they don't really care. They didn't really care if Joey Bosa played, went to the Chargers or whatever. They just wanted him in an Ohio State uniform. Like me, I prefer my Eddie Georges in an Ohio State uniform. But I buy pro uniform cards because they're out there. So, anyways, yes, they need to get on, make it a short, because the draft's not till the end of April.
Mm-hmm.
Is it in April? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking. I mean, we already know. It's other than something majorly crazy happening. There's not going to be anything changed in like the top 5 picks.
Mm-hmm.
So they can go ahead and get those products kind of tempered up and have Fernando could be signing right now. He may already have a contract on, to be honest with you, because it doesn't make sense for them to not have him under contract right now for Fanatics, because they're going, whenever they put out the Raiders jerseys and all that, they're going to want them to be draft night. You can get his jerseys or you can get his autograph helmet or hats and stuff like that. So you definitely, I would do 2025 very, very short print and then move on to 2026 because that's what the collectors want.
Yeah, that's probably true. Okay, so this next thing and the last and final reason why I think April is going to be a breakout month. It's going to be a really popular month for cards, a very profitable month for at least shops and breakers, is Bowman basketball. Now, I'm not going to give Bill a lot of opportunity to talk much about this because I want to know what he thinks happens after April. And I may even keep this pretty short because I may even do a completely separate video because that's how awesome I think Bowman basketball is. So I think Bowman basketball will be the basketball product of the year. It may be in discussion for the products of one of the products of the year, maybe top 3. And I'm just going to give you it very simple. There's 3 main reasons. A, the draft class. So let me mention the draft class to you. It's AJ DeBunsta. It is Darren Peterson. It is Cameron Boozer, who has some products in Leaf. It is Caleb Wilson. It is Keatlin Wagler. It is Darius Acuff Jr. or Darius Acuff Jr. These are some of the guys they expect to go in the top 5. There's been some wiggling around about where they're going to go, but the DeBunsta guy is the big guy. He's the leading scorer in college, and a lot of these guys have some upside potential. But here's one thing that I want to point out to you about all of these guys. Not every one of them will be in Bowman basketball, but a good majority will. And we know that DeBunsta has autos in this product. Now, here's the interesting thing. Of this list of guys, almost every one of them that is going to go in the first 5 of the draft are freshmen. That means they don't have another Bowman U card yet. That means this is literally going to be their first card, and within 6 to 7 months, they will be getting involved in NBA games. So this is literally going to be their first Bowman card, and now that this is licensed, and it also includes stars, this is going to be just like the baseball. So the Bowman Chrome autos fall in the hobby products. The paper autos fall in the retail. So many people are saying this draft class is an A-, and they wouldn't have rated this draft class we're currently in with Cooper Flag that high. So I'm not saying there's a Cooper Flag. I'm just saying that overall, this draft class is really good.
So, okay, so Topps and Topps Chrome came out with Cooper Flag rookies.
Yes.
This next product of Bowman.
Yes.
Is it a Bowman U?
It is not a Bowman U.
Well, then why are these draft picks in it? That should be a Bowman draft product.
Yeah.
Because you still need to put out a product that has Cooper Flag rookies in it.
Yeah.
And if you're going to mix the classes,
mm-hmm.
you're going to have a bunch of blowback from a lot of people because they're, especially if it's not before the draft.
Yeah, so it's going to have a lot of both. So it's going to have stars currently in the NBA,
mm-hmm.
and it'll say like Cooper Flag rookie card, and then it'll have these guys with Bowman first. So
now I do know, like what me and you have kind of discussed on the side, that like supposedly the blasters are already, a blaster should be in the stores for like $34.95 or whatever.
mm-hmm.
They're already $75 on pre-sale market, and no one has them.
Yeah,
like they're not out. No one has them. They don't come out till April.
Topps accounts have not even been solicited on it yet.
Topps us as an MVP account have not been solicited
mm-hmm.
on it. Now, here's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens when that product comes out and it isn't short printed?
Mm-hmm.
And now there are some stores that are still in the Stone Age and hey, we're going to do first week fair pricing. And
mm-hmm.
give you the market says it's $700, but we're like, hey, we're gonna sell it to you for $550 because we feel like that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
But there are shops that will go to the max and be like, hey, on the internet it's not $700. We're charging you $700 to start,
mm-hmm.
and then if I have to go back and replace it, it's gonna be more.
Mm-hmm.
All you're going to do is make more people mad,
mm-hmm.
and eventually, because of these situations, I see more people flocking away from your store buying the box because $900 boxes in our shop do not sell regularly.
Mm-hmm.
But breakers will buy them, but they want a whole case. So now you have shops that are sitting there going, okay, what do we do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have this case sitting here. I can sell the whole case and make my good money, make fairly good money, or I can sit on my shelf, sell one box, and have 7 boxes that no one in their right mind's going to come in and buy. So now you sell your case to a breaker, and then you go and buy a couple boxes off somebody else just to satisfy those 1 or 2 customers. All that is doing is going to hurt your customer base on the long run, and eventually it will all be to breaking in case breaks, box breaks. I think you're going to see more people getting away from box breaks, just single box breaks, because a lot of us know that when you go to places and some of these products have, if you have a 8-box case and 3 boxes get open and the case gets hit, that's 5 boxes that go to another place, or you wholesale them out to somebody else. That happens all the time in the secondary market, but you don't know because you only ordered 1 box. Now, it doesn't happen from the wholesaler, but it will happen if you get anything secondhand or something from a guy at a card show, or a guy that was, a guy down the road just happened to have a box, So that those boxes are not going to be, let's say, loaded. So the only way to really have a chance at those case hits is to buy off somebody that's opening a whole case. And now you're looking to Whatnot, Fanatics Live, you're looking to eBay Live, you're looking to a breaking platform, and you're getting away from the hobby shop in the first place, and it's BS.
Yeah. So the reasons that this might be one of the best products of the year, I said, was the draft class, which most people think is really good, but you started to touch on it in what you were talking about. But I think one of the reasons this will be a great product is because there is something for every price point. There are blasters, there are megas, there are hobby, there are delight, there are jumbo. Now, hobby boxes are going to have 8 cards of 20 packs.
Is this one of the products that Topps has said, hey, we're going to have in your shop, and it's guaranteed not going to be more than $34.95? Because Fanatics has told us that there will be certain products that I think it was 9 products that's coming out, that we are going to make sure you have plenty in your shop, and you're not going to, as a MVP account, raise your cost past this point, because we're allowing you to make money. Is this one of those products?
I don't believe it is.
Then Fanatics doesn't care about the hobby shop.
Okay.
Basically.
Yeah, but I think that at least they're giving you a fair shot out at stores or whatever.
Nope. Not if. Oh, did these people that have nothing else to do but sit at Walmart for 4 hours and clear the shelf, did they all stop all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Then you do not have a shot at Walmart or
Yeah.
getting at those places.
And again, part of it being a hot product is it being difficult to get. And I would guess that the hobby will come out on release day around $400 a box.
Yeah.
That would be my
So we'll
guess.
just instead of calling it Bowman, we'll just call it Pokemon.
Yeah. So it's going to come out, around 400. But I do think, like I said, blasters, megas, Delight, Hobby, Jumbo will be there. And the last reason is the auto checklist. So Panini has not been able to do anything close to this. So you've got the number one pick, who's supposed to be the number one pick in the draft. Of course, we've talked about him multiple times. But you've got Flag, you've got Knuppel, you've got Durant, you've got James, you've got Jokic, you've got Curry, you've got Wembanyama, you've got Edwards, and you've got Shaq. Autos all in this product. So again, I think this Bowman product, and when we have more information, again, I may do a separate video about it.
Without me.
think I just when we have more information to just kind of convey what's going on. Now, we started this, and the title of this is April's going to be a really good month. I define that as a really good month for maybe shops and maybe breakers, and it's partly because of the products. It's partly because of the football scarcity. It's a couple of other things. But then what? I'll ask your opinion.
Okay, so
what happens after April?
So it is a good month for the shops, and it's a good month for the breakers, and it's good. But you know what? When it boils down to it, for the collectors, the person just wants to collect it because they're collecting. It's a horrible month. It's just going to ruin. All it is going to do is just leave a bad taste in your mouth, and you're going to be trying to figure out why you overpaid for something that you didn't really want. You just wanted to put together a set because you have put a set together for every year. But yes, with this being a height, and they're saying this product's going to be the product of the year, and blah blah blah. You are not going to. It cannot sustain that level because Tops is only going to put out more higher end products, and all you're going to have is like your Tops Pristine, your Tops Translucent. You're going to have your Tops blah 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 blah, and it's just going to be Tops blah 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 dollar sign dollar sign dollar sign. Like when you look and you go on the internet and you see it, and sometimes they'll show like, hey, Tops, and they'll have $1 sign behind because it's somewhat affordable. Everything else is going to have like 12 dollar signs behind it, and you can't afford it. So now, you as a collector are forced to hold out and wait till other people have opened the product, and then maybe you might have a chance to buy something you want.
Yeah. So I agree. So
and it's more on gambling now.
It is,
because anytime you're doing whatnot, unless you literally are just buying the team that you collect, it's gambling.
Yeah. So here's what I'd say. I think it's good news, April. That there'll be more
Rob
money.
said it's great news for his checking account.
I think it's great news for shops. I think it's great for breakers, but I think you're going to need April. I think you're going to need April to be good because I see or foresee some not great months. Now, again, I am not predicting doom. But what I am going to tell you is that since November of 23, shops and stuff, for the most part, have been in a bull market. Since November of 23, it has been steadily increasing. Our shop itself, just locally, it's month after month, a little bit better, a little bit more.
We got money, guys. We got money.
Yeah, a little bit more gross sales.
Mostly him.
That sort of thing since November of 2023. But what's the old saying? What goes up has to come down.
We rich, bitch.
Yeah. No.
He can edit that.
Yeah, I'll have to edit that out. But what has started in November of 2023 has to come to an end. And we did videos 5 months ago, and I said I could see it pretty good until spring of this year. And then I start to see a downturn. Now, it happens every year. Don't get me wrong. Every summer, it's a little bit slower. It was a little bit slower comparatively last summer than, say, in the spring or whatever. But this year, I don't personally think it's going to rebound. And I think that what you're going to see is not a terrible market, but a market that was like 22 and 2023. Those were not great markets. We were able to hold on because of how good COVID was. I think it's returning to that. And I don't think in the fall of next year or the spring of next year, you see the same kind of money in this hobby or the same passion in this hobby that you do now. So again, what would I do if I had a bunch of Otanis? What would I do if I had a bunch of Wembinyanis? I'd clear 80% of them off by the end of April. Because outside of individual player play that's just off the charts, they are going to be worth less than in the fall, spring of next year than they are right now.
So here's the question I have, though, and I know you told me that, but if this rookie class is so great and it turns out, you're still going to have people buying all that product. It's so you're basically saying, it's going to the market's going to go down. The market's not going to go down if people are still chasing after these rookies because they're doing so well. But that's also a chance that happens, and it can be affected by somebody spraining an ankle, someone torn an ACL. So basically, it is. I don't think it stays at the height. But as long as people are literally do not care about money, and their budget is the max limit on all their credit cards, that's their limit, not my budget. It's not, hey, I can afford $100 this week because I had a bonus from work. It's like, well, I don't have to pay my mortgage payment till the 1st, so I can use this whole check here, even though I can't. So I mean, as long as you have people that are playing with money that they can't afford to, and whatnot, is basically allowing you to put any card that any credit card you put on there, they will allow you to use it for anything, and they do not care one lick about you. They're not going to protect you because they look at it. They're taking care of their sellers, and you as a buyer are basically going to be broke, and they don't care. That's just another thing and whatnot. It's kind of left a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of predicting that April's the last really good month, but I'm not saying it's terrible. I'm not predicting it's going to be like 2003 as far as the card market.
So you think it's going to drop off like crazily drop off? I don't understand how it would drop off crazily.
To about 2023 level, 2022 level, which I didn't think was great.
Yeah, but
I thought it was just okay.
Yeah, but those years the rookies weren't great. You're telling me this classic's going to come out in basketball is like God literally blessed all these guys into the NBA.
Yeah, no, so it's supposed to be a good class, but I still would say basketball's second or third. It's third, actually, as far as popularity. And I don't know if the rookie class can change that, or if Fanatics marketing can change that. So I still think that it's not enough. And again, back to the football class.
That's the reason why I'm still skeptical on the Bowman. I'm not saying it won't sell. If that Bowman does not have Cooper Flag rookies in it, and Concanoople rookies in it, I don't think people buy it for those potential rookies, hoping that, because their Bowman card is just a Bowman card. And next thing you know, it's not going to be their only card. There's this thing called Tops Now. And they'll have a million Tops Nows because, hey, this guy farted and we wanted it on camera. Here's the card of him farting. Or whatever, whatever they do.
Now, my understanding, just to clarify, my understanding of the Bowman is it is Cooper Flag rookie. It is Canoople rookie.
Well, it should be. It is their first year.
Yeah, it is going to literally be marked rookie card.
Those rookies, I've agreed that I like the way that Panini did it for Select. Because what they would do is, in every box, you would get a redemption for a rookie for the next year. And that's what I think they should do. The 25-26 Bowman should be Cooper Flag's rookie, and in every box you get a exchange card for that rookie in the future. But suppose